Hello and welcome back to Stomp City. Today we're going to be looking at the new features for TEW 2016. This is part 2. Starting with the Canadian breakdown. The Canadian game area has been altered so that the prairies has now been split into 3 regions: Alberta, Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Sorry if I pronounced that one wrong, I'm not really sure. I've never heard of it before. Instead of 5 areas in Canada, we now have 7, with the prairies becoming 3. Also, the Mediterranean in Europe has been broken into 4 regions, which are France, Italy, Iberia, and Southeast Europe. So that would leave us with 6 regions in Europe now. So that's good that the game is going to grow in terms of regions. Thirdly, we have the generic venues. A new feature added to the game is generic venues. The way this works is that the user does not have to pick a specific pre-made venue when holding a show. Instead, he can simply pick the region he wants to hold it in and select the generic venue button. The capacity is considered to be around the number of fans that the promotion will draw, i.e. you don't get charged for extra seats that you wouldn't have filled, nor are you turning people away. When viewing show history, the game simply uses the region name in place of the venue, i.e. would say X were in Scotland rather than X were in Glasgow City Complex in Scotland. Not having an exact venue name is really the only drawback of the system. The advances are threefold. Firstly, this removes a massive amount of work for mod makers, as there's no pressure to add even one venue, let alone multiple venues for every region. You could even leave the entire location file blank without causing any issues. Secondly, it removes the annoyance of being stuck between tiers. For example, you can draw 2,000 people but only have the option for 1,000 capacity arena or a 5,000 capacity arena. You no longer have to choose between turning away half your fans or shelling out the money for 3,000 seats that you can't fill. Thirdly, the users who don't care about having specific venues, then this makes booking a show even quicker, as you can just grab a generic venue each time. Now for me, this does kind of make sense in the fact that you could have, as it says, you could be drawing 2,000 fans and then only have the option of 1,000 or 5,000. However, it just sort of take away the realism, and I like to sort of have real venues, and then there be a goal to fill out an arena rather than just having automatically selling out an arena every week, no matter where you are. So I'm sort of torn between this one, although I do understand why it's been added. Then we go on to venue hiring costs. In previous games, venue hiring costs were done in tiers, so there were big jumps when moving over certain capacity levels. This has been changed so that all hiring costs are now relative to the venue's capacity. This is a small change, but makes for slightly easier financial management and removes what was a previously pretty arbitrary price jump. That's a good improvement. So say you could be in an arena that's 100-seater and 1,000-seater, and it would cost the same amount of money. And now it's more gradual with the pricing, so that makes sense. Then we go on to pregnancy, where the women in the game can become pregnant. Previously, it's been added as an injury, which is obviously, as it says, wrong on so many levels. Pregnancy works in a 3-stage manner. The initial announcement gives warning that the worker in question will be taking time off shortly. The worker then goes on maternity leave, and then the birth happens. The mother will remain on maternity leave for a short while after the birth too, for realism. Then we have the backstage influence guide. So this is more of for the interface rather than the gameplay. But in a worker's personal tab on the right hand side of the character screen, the game now gives a guideline on whether he's a bad or negative influence. This allows you to see at a glance whether you're dealing with a good egg or a bad apple. This saves you from having to visit their profile to look at their personality, potentially saving you a mighty 4 clicks of the mouse per character. I like this addition as well. It makes the game easier to play. Less clicking is good, especially when over time you do 100 workers, and that's just 400 clicks. So that's good. Next we have body types. Workers in 2016 now have specific body types. Each worker can be one of the following 8 categories: average, skinny, toned, muscular, ripped or flabby, bulky, and obese. This is pretty self-explanatory. I must point out also that it's dynamic, so someone can go from skinny to toned to muscular to ripped, etc. through the game, much like you can change the size of your wrestler. So we'll look at this for an example. We here have Aiden English lightweight, and you can decrease his size or increase his size. So it's a similar thing, but just more to do with how their body looks rather than how much they weigh, which is good. And lastly, we have Immortal Tag Teams. So the Hall of Immortals has been expanded and can now hold legendary tag teams as well as single wrestlers. The criteria for tag teams is different to single wrestlers, but still allows the best of the best to get in. This is primarily a cosmetic feature, but as a lot of people are fans of tag team wrestling, it's nice to have it in the game anyway. That's something I agree with. I think it is good to have. You can see here that we've got Hall of Immortals, where it's got all the best singles wrestlers. It's basically just a Hall of Fame of the wrestling world, not just WWE though. So we've got Sting in there, Steve Austin, Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan, Eddie Guerrero. So it's basically the best of the best gets onto this list. So now with the addition of Hall of Tag Teams, or whatever it's going to be called, I think it's a good addition, and I'm happy with this week's announcements. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe for more updates and general wrestling content. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and until next time, peace.